Welcome, guys. We are back MDL for another day. A pretty damn good day yesterday. Spirit, maybe not so much for them. A decent performance, but losing out to Valiance in, well, they got obliterated. I think that's all you can really say. Either way, I'm joined by Connor, and, well, where are you leaning with this one now? Do you still doubt Expert, or do you think they can win this?
Sorry, I dropped my fish oils, so I had to pick them up. I'm leaning towards the side of Team Spirit. I think, Tom. They're still kind of a cut above the rest of this part of the league. When I say this part of the league, I'm referring to teams like Expert, who are sitting outside of the top 8. Experts, they've got a 1-7 record. They're fighting just to keep themselves in MDL at this point. But that's kind of weird to say because I feel like in the most recent couple of weeks, we've had really promising showings from Team Expert. They've taken a lot of rounds off of what Movistar Riders, nearly giving them their first season's loss. They gave it to Valiance yesterday as well, getting into, I believe, 10 rounds. And so now they have Spirit, another potential contender, but not one that sits as high on the scoreboard as, say, those other two teams. And that's why I believe maybe Expert does something. Maybe JDC gives us some more clips. Maybe we get Andy shooting 3 bullets and getting 5 kills all over again today, Tom. I don't know what's going to happen, but Choppers started it off. The pistol begins with a CT-sided advantage, and the T's are looking to hit this banana quick. But Chopper's inside of the corner. He gets dropped by Andy. 2 kills for the T's. How about you make it 3? Chris K making it look easy as B-site crumbles.
Yeah, a little bit of a gap in the smoke for Idis Balance to take a peek, and well, he's dead. It's on to Someday Young, the star of their victory yesterday. Had an absolute blinder of performance. Clearly wary that there might be someone in behind. Doesn't have a kit to play with, so has to get a move on here if he's going to have a chance of winning this round. There's another Molotov. Of course, there's a second Molotov to throw in. Well, there's nothing he can do now. Running into the crossfire, not going to be happening, and just looking to try and keep his Kevlar, but it is not going to be the case. Expert off to a good start with the pistol. The only thing I would worry about for them is the fact that 4 spy rounds from Spirit are deadly.
Yep, they are frequent, and they tend to be successful. So this double Mac 10 Ump, Scout, and Galil buy from Expert will be facing up versus double MP9s with Kevlar, double 5.7s with Kevlar, and a glass cannon Scout. This is a really interesting buy with lots of flashbangs, smokes, and whatnot too. This is cool, Spirit. It's what I come to expect from this team. You know, they do have strategies in every single round. They do have an approach to anti-ecos, to ecos of their own. Like, it's never a team where you see them scratching their heads. Never comes across that way. Just fun to watch, but it means we could also get a bit of a standoff here in the second round. Clearly, you know, they know they're playing as the underdogs in most of these games now, and yet they know they have some kind of a promise, some sort of a structure, some sort of skill that lets them open up rounds. They've gotten to the top of brackets. They've started to apply pressure on Arch, and that's exactly where they find the opener. JDC using the Galil to hit the head of one of those 2 SMGs. So we've got Chopper's MP9 still at the B site, and just pistols surrounding A. No surprise then that Sotvic fumbles it. JDC with a second, and JDC basically wins this round just by clearing Arch to A.
Yeah, that 1 kill onto Someday Young made it very, very difficult for them to have any sort of hope in this one. But yeah, moving forward, we will be getting a buy round in a couple of rounds. So Team Spirit, not really too much they can do with this. Just try and save onto what they've got. But I decided, like, well, just to have a little bit of a look at some of the teams that we've actually Expert lose to so far. And in all honesty, like, I think one of the only weaker teams they played was versus Chaos, which they won. Other than that, the teams they've lost to are Valiance, Fours, Movie Star Riders, Epsilon, Virtus Pro, AGO, and Sprout. So you kind of look at this and go, those are all relatively decent teams. I suppose that's kind of what the MDL has got to, especially in Europe. Like, I've been looking at the sort of European closed minor qualifier, not even the actual minor. And it's disgusting. Like, it's actually disgusting. Like, you could see some of those teams get through to the top 8, realistically. So, like, European Counter-Strike at the moment is just dirty.
Yeah, but NA's ranked number 1. Read 'em and weep.
For now.
For now. Yeah, let me enjoy this temporary stint while I can, though. Yeah, no,
yeah, you got a couple.
Get back to your point. Remember, of all the teams you listed off, 6 of the 8 teams that you mentioned, 6 of the 8 teams that Expert have played against so far in MDL are currently holding top 8 positions for this season's playoffs. So you're absolutely right. They've gotten through the harder chunk of their season first, which is maybe a little discouraging, seeing as it leaves them with a 1-7 record. But Tom,
Yeah.
hopefully they realize the accomplishment of which they have already accomplished, getting through the hard part, and they run with the rest of the season. You know, a caged animal has very few things to worry about, but maybe a 4-man head boost is one of them. Kills before Preet just starts to execute them down. He gets himself 3 headshots in the mix, and that final MP9 on Chopper comes in from the backside. Dude, the 4-man head boost. Not the first time we've seen it this week, and not the first time that it actually gets something done.
Yeah, it looks ridiculous, but it's actually quite difficult to clear that out, because you kind of, the best way to do it is to kill the guy at the bottom and then everybody's falling, so they're less likely to hit you. But when there's 4 people, it's very difficult to do that without dying. Chopper, just looking to try and maybe steal a gun away, get somebody on the exit. Oh, he actually will take the higher HP player, and that's an extra $600, which, if you look at how much money he has going into the next round, that's going to secure an AWP, like, just with extra money as well. He even gets to hold on to his Kevlar. Will he find the AK that was dropped? It could have been blown anywhere, so unfortunately for him, not going to be found. But yeah, there you go. AWP over. iDisbalance can probably drop a rifle back, I'd hope. And actually, no, Sotfik's going to play with an SMG. I would have preferred they just went in for a 4x here and didn't go for an SMG, but it's definitely viable in certain positions depending where Sotfik's actually going to be playing.
Yeah, see if he tucks himself away some kind of piece here on Banana. Make that SMG incredibly viable, but jump spot, sees nobody behind logs, will use his frag grenade just to make sure that if there's damage to be done, he does it. He goes parading downwards now, so playing away with his life. Risky business, maybe justifies the MP9 because he gets an initial man advantage. Chris K tries to spam him back, a little bit of damage, but he can't finish off the kill. The 2 CTs of Spirit have done a good job of setting up that banana control, and now they can fade away as they please. Although it does seem like Expert want to give chase. They understand they need to deal with banana in some regard before they set their teeth into the A site. And because Chopper keeps up this pressure, he's very much letting them know that Spirit understand it's going to be an A hit. 4 defenders in that side of the map, and no reason to bring them back until now. Chopper's going to offer it up, not wanting to get counter-naded.
Yeah, I'm worryingly, this late into the round, there's still a fair bit of utility. Like Coldy with a full belt, he can just hold down B. I wouldn't even be surprised if they go back for the gamble, but actually maybe just a little bit too late. Sotfik just going to try and survive in the pit. The executions began. iDisbalance will find one. They didn't spot Sotfik until right at the last moment, but that was enough to at least get them onto the site. iDisbalance pushing in actually gets the opener with an AWP, and Andy's going to try and get a response, and will do just that. Even still, though, left into a 2 versus 2, and all that utility from the CT side is now expended. It just comes down to these raw individual battles. Preet, somewhat isolated, in fact. He's got to try and do this alone, and Chopper's going to be able to finish him off. And this plant is not for Andy. He can't do anything from here. If the defusal comes in, he just has to wait, tries to go for the wide peak, but it doesn't matter anyway. Chopper will just defuse the bomb and will likely just hide in this corner, not wanting to throw away his gun.
That's a rough one. Don't mean to, but we're going to throw Andy under the bus for that one, Tom. He's playing short behind boxes. He's there on the bomb site. He's the reason that they take down one of the 3 CTs playing off of library side. And yet then he decides to move himself into the balcony. And you saw as he pushed short and went through apps to get that, what he considered, I guess, better after plant position, he loses his teammate. 2 CTs push onto the site. There's 0 cover for him. Preet was left entirely alone in an isolated corner. Like, what do you expect him to do? Just so that we then have Andy peek out from balcony where bomb's not planted for him. Seems like an unfortunate reposition, and missing said reposition could come back to cost them. It's another A-site split. There's a player pushing through apartments here in Coldy. Spirit has gotten between the T's. They've gotten offensive. And because of that, they could fall back into the A-site where there's 3 T's putting down bomb versus the 4 CTs are ready for the retake, and they've already gotten enough. MP9 works out, Op fires back, Coldy with some sort of an answer, but it's Sprunk to keep this going. 2 CTs back on short. Spirit's gonna smoke off bomb. That could very well do it. He's gonna have to start spamming bullets through. Or just go ahead and peek wide, Tom, and neither's gonna work out for him.
Yeah. I like to see it. Someday Young, aggressive, XM. He even has a skin and a stat track. Like, you know that means he's a proper XM player. Only 175 kills, but I can forgive that. And yeah, his aggression actually works out. Manages to net him an AK and then really helps with the retake in the end. And it was quite an odd scenario for the T's that they managed to get the site with 2 players in apps. Like, that doesn't happen too often, and it made holding onto the site pretty much impossible.
That short push though, that was cheeky. Gets over through the boiler room uncontested. It's nice to see Spirit back on the board, but unfortunately for Expert, dude, 1 deagle, 4 P250s after a single loss. Good job saving cash, looking to bounce back with guns, and looking to hit this A site yet again. They've done it with more. Can they succeed with less? Oh, that's gotta hurt. Chopper just puts all the bodies to rest. 3 of them down for the count. A USP 1 tap for the insult, and then SDY gets 1.
Yeah,
Next.
he's making so much money, like, over the last few rounds. Like, he did exactly the same thing with the MP9 in the early rounds to really do damage to the T's economy, and done it again. Just give this man an MP9.
Top banana. And, well, the assist is there, but Andy drops it back, and then Preet and Andy, whoa, okay. This is just an entire collapse coming out of Spirit. They try to get these aggressive peeks through banana and top mid, Tom, and they lose 3 players. That's a hell of a wave. Sorry.
One of those is through smoke. Like, it just
Right.
a little bit of luck from Alex. Bomb's gonna be planted at least though. Chopper pushes through, manages to deny it. He's having a great game so far, but eventually is shut down. Sotfik with an AWP. If that smoke fades, he has a chance, because the bomb actually is out in the open. Smoke's gonna yield a gap. They're definitely wary. Actually, it spreads just a little bit. Doesn't spot the cross from Andy, who's gonna go and retrieve the bomb and get it planted. And he needs to do something off the timing through this smoke. Hope that he can find something, but Skrunk is holding the angle. 4-3. Expert take themselves the lead, and the CT side, they do have the cash for this. So Chopper with some extra money may be able to drop over an AWP once again. In fact, it's going to be Sotfik to do it instead. Although I have to admit, so far, that AWP hasn't really had any impact.
Double up.
Oh.
They want 2, Tom. 2 big green guns. Cannons in place between Sotfik and Disbalance. Chopper is the one who purchased the secondary. That's why we see him push down to the MP9 with no utility, and 1 of 2 ops already opens up shop. It's I Disbalance to get the 5v4. Now, Chopper off the flashbang's gonna decide to play aggressive, hyper aggressive with this MP9, but he's playing away with his life. Doesn't have too much to hold on to, but he gets the AK. Good chance at a flick over. Disbalance with another kill, catching JDC, this time in middle. So, sure enough, all the success here for Expert, all of their footing forward comes towards this B site. No surprise to see them try and execute inwards in a final attempt to bring back the round 2 before they get collateraled. Damn, Disbalance. Give him a chance, man.
Oh, that's one of those plays that would tilt you. Like, that really is. What he just did is so infuriatingly annoying that he just ran straight through a smoke, shoots 1 bullet, not only kills 1 member of the team, but severely damages the other, and then just runs back through the smoke again and disappears into nothingness. I was saying at the beginning of this round, he hadn't had much impact, and they kept giving him the AWP. I can now understand why. 3 kills, a 4th tank to 34 HP, and, well, Andy is just going to have to hide in the corner with his friendly chicken until the round ends.
Ops paying dividends. Disbalance really hammering it home. I like his confidence, dude. Kid sometimes just goes on a tear. This was one of those rounds. No bomb plant. Expert going to be strapped for cash with only 1 round loss bonus. This is going to keep 3 of their players beneath buying for sure. But when you have that one op save, the question is always, what do you put around it? You want to go into this with a couple more pistols? Do you want to get in some more smokes and flashbangs? What about a set of Kevlar time? In case that AWP player does die first, you don't want the aim punch affecting the second dopper. So the answer is 2 Kevlars, a ton of flashbangs, even some Mac 10s. All right, let's just buy. This is what they get in the end of it all. Good luck. It's not going to be an easy one versus this very, very stable double op.
Chopper again in just such a strong position, avoiding the Molotovs and shots being placed through the wall, not connecting just yet. Chopper still hasn't retreated, but we use the flashbang to get away. And well, again, it just seems to be their style at the moment for Spirit. Get an opening, fall back to the sites, play passively for the rest of the round, and it's just irritating for your opponent because you're almost always playing with a man down and you still have to try and make the same executes that you were going for previously. This time Chopper boosted up, strong position with the support of an AWP, but they should be able to isolate him, and realistically the aim here at least get a bomb for him.
Preet's gotten past at the very least. Sees Chopper on the boost, but can't even get the kill. Takes him to 3 HP. Molotov back behind Barbecue is going to force the T's forward. Plant comes in off Coffin. Chris is able to maintain smoke control for a moment, and Preet's going to replume a piece of utility to block off these 3 CTs. So it's very much trying to get them to filter their way through construction, and they could still do this with numbers. They could wait out the smoke even if they decide to choose. 2 kits means they can play down to time, but it's off of the flashes that they'll push past smoke just as it fades. 2 T's on site, blindsided, killed instantly, and Andy's last man left, completely sectioned off by Bob. This is Team Spirit using the little bit of utility they had left over to keep 5 members alive on the retake. Just perfect round in the end. Even though they lose that site, they didn't lose a single player, and the retake was flawless.
Yeah, and I like the style from them as well, in the sense of there was 2 players defending and still alive for the majority of that. But the second they get a pick, they give themselves a bigger advantage. They just fall back. They know they're low HP, and they know that them running in and getting an extra kill, even the trade could be more beneficial for the T side. So just wait, play it as a roster, and well, it works out wonderfully. JDC actually going to buy down into this one. They do have the loss bonus building up behind them, so even just a bomb plant here would be enough to guarantee him a purchase into the next round. But even still, we'll see if he can actually get anything done with it.
Good clumping going on outside of apps. Preet decides to come back for bomb and then chucks it down to the ground a second time. You'd be looking at Andy to try and get something done this round, try and find an opener, and he's going to duel versus Banana, but Sotvik's boost, and that's a left side peek, so had the disadvantage versus Sotvik. Gets dropped for it. Op retrieved by Skrunk, who very quickly tries to move it to the top of Banana, but Sotvik comes in for second servings. He's hungry today. Preet and Chris K about to be his next 2 victims. They could even line up. Ooh, but he's caught jumping. Fiddling with his fingers. If only Expert had the bomb. They've pushed into the B site without it, and now they've realized the error of their ways. Chris K is tasked with being sent back.
Oh, Preet almost managing to get the kill. Chris K is going to go running for that bomb, but the time is so low, and the footsteps are going to be heard by Young. He knows where this is coming from, and if he gets this kill, the round is done for sure. And while 10 seconds left, and Preet may have to just fall into the same sort of position that we saw from Andy previously. Just hold on to that AWP, bring something into the next round at least. It is going to be the case. He still has money anyway, so it isn't the end of the world. And while without a bomb plan, I sort of mentioned it at the beginning, JDC is not going to have the finances to actually go for anything here. But all in all, it's not going to be the worst buy in the world.
There's a real tragedy in that round though, Tom, and that is that the last 2 surviving members of Chris K and Preet, who actually got that kill versus Soptic on Banana, who found timing where Team Spirit couldn't have rotated through CT fast enough because the Opera was caught off guard. Remember, Preet, he's the player that came back through apartments, picked up the bomb after it having been initially dropped, and then decides to just throw it back down under balcony. I mean, if he had kept it with him that entire time, they have a sprint to the B bomb site where they plant and have 2 rifles and a post plant. I mean, not only more money, but potentially more damage to try and keep this even game a little closer, because it is Team Spirit pulling ahead. Not in this round as they find themselves 5v4, but it's there for them.
Well, already trades coming in, Disbalance only managing 1, and T slowly looking to try and wrap around trade for trade. 2 versus 2, but quickly the T's find both frags. It will be a 5th on the board for Expert now, and they're still keeping this game very, very close. And especially when we look at yesterday, it was their T side on Train versus Valiant that really let them down. And their CT side was actually pretty damn solid. Like, I think it was a 9-6 half, and they were 4-0 down, so only losing 2 buy rounds since that point. And they have a real chance here to actually take the lead. They win this round, they break the economy of the CT side, and they're sat happy.
Disbalance peeking into the apartments. That's Preet just trying to spam shots, giving himself away. A little bit of audio cue has Disbalance licking his chops. Speaking of which, push down Banana. Chopper gets that 5v3, and then JDC and Chris K swing it right. Oh, and look at the kill on short. Pushes up into the A site to die to SDY, who then falls a little bit further into the pit. Throws a frag grenade towards mid. That's where both these last 2 players for Expert are. Looking to pressure Arch side first. They flash the Opera off the corner. Disbalance knows exactly what's up. Soptic seems willing to give up banana control just so he can play CT spawn, but if he dies here, then they have an open push. This is very similar to the last round when Soptic was caught, but this time offense. Good to stop the bomb. Andy picks it back up and decides to take his sprint. Soptic's going to try to get the spinal hit, but he gets around the corner. It should be money at least, unless Soptic goes for the Hail Mary and charges him down.
Oh, that's exactly what he'll do. I think that's actually one of the only ways that could have gone wrong, is if Andy fakes him out and gets that opening pick and then gets the bomb down anyway. But, well, luckily he guessed correctly, and well, all the sort of storytelling of this being the build for Expert, the time they reset their opponent's economy and get themselves maybe 7, maybe even 8 T rounds, that's kind of slipped away. Their money's been hit instead, and they have to wait for the next round to have their finances back at full again. And also, extra AWPs have fallen into the hands of the CT side as well, so they should be able to keep this one nice and clean and then be sat with strong money once again.
Eagle peek in mid, JDC, damn. He had a really good crosshair placement in predicting that this gets his paws on an off for only a moment. Chopper sent pack as they're very much trying to contend that op control. They don't want to give a gun over to the T's, but in the process, Preet swings it to the 1v2. And he's got to have a chance to sprint into the A site. If he jumps out apps, it is entirely open. Now, we shouldn't know where Disbalance has gotten off to, but could assume it is that banana player. If he wraps around Arch side, then maybe Coldy's in question, but Coldy has wind of it. Based on the timing, gets worried about his flank, and sure enough, shuts it down. But considering just pistols, they accomplished more that time, Tom, on a save than they did last time in a similar situation with double Mac 10s, 2 pistols, and an op. So that's improvement at the top of the brackets. 2 more rounds to play.
Yeah, or at least put a dent into the money of Spirit. And, well, in all honesty, that will mean that if they do manage to get this next round, they should be on for the double, but a lot easier said than done. Disbalance going to be spotted. He seems to be pretty hit and miss in this game. It's either been getting a 3K or 0. Those have been the sort of only 2 that have been going that way, but either way, we'll see if his team can rectify the situation. Coldy will retrieve that secondary ult, but it's going to be a push actually coming in. The bomb's going to go first, so that'll be all the information that's needed for the CT side. It will hit the deck. The rotation can begin. Some Young chiming in the Molotov Eagle, finding one. Nice shot from Andy, though. Will at least close off one of the rotators. However, there's still another. Coldy on the site. Still with the AWP in hand. He's given the information away. He's actually going to get shot through. He needs to do something here, and Preet will close him out. Sotfig missing the shot could be enough to put this round to bed, as, again, he's trying to retake with the AWP, and we've seen how badly this went last time. He's just going to try and get aggressive and doesn't connect the shot, and Preet will put him down either way. 8-6. Now, again, money for the CT side is horrible.
Yeah, this has been a real war of attrition in terms of the cash. But they're going to go for the force, obviously, seeing as it's the final round of their CT side. A T side that Expert, I mean, it's a weird one to call because I feel like Expert, they were never truly in this. They were constantly like one round loss away from having to go into hard saves over and over. We only saw like 2 real rounds where they're coming in with super limited pistols. They did a good job of getting through and getting enough rounds with the limited purchases that they were afforded. So I give praise to that, but let's see if they can close out a round where they have the advantage. Sometimes, for whatever reason, you know, the easier job gets harder. How often are you dealing with an XM1014 in apps, MP9s on the other side of mid, and a potential scout play as well here from Disbalance? But there's that first player down, just a pistol. Not a massive loss. Tagged from the scout shot, but a wild wide swing from Disbalance is going to lose him his life, and a 5v3 is a great look for Expert to close this half 7-8.
Yeah, this would have to be something extremely impressive. Molotov going to be thrown down. Something. I guess it was just an information peak. That's all I could put that down to. Sotfig hits one with the Deeg, and Chopper can at least find a kill, but it all doesn't really matter. Young with an XM in a 1v4. If he pulls this off, he... never mind, I want him to lose now.
He swapped to a scout to play the 1v4.
I'm disappointed. He could have gone for the greatest clutch of all time. Instead, he's going with a scout.
I mean, this clutch, Tom, there's still some weight behind. You want the greatest clutch of all time? Let's see it, SDY. Well, he can't see anything at all. Perfect flashbang denies any chance at that what would have been massive clutch. So first half comes to a close and things are as close as can be. This is another time where Expert, like, if it hadn't been for the last 2 weeks of watching them, I would say these guys are exceeding my expectations. But I expect them to keep it close in the first half. It's closing this game that I think they're going to struggle with because I've never seen them do it. I didn't have the chance to watch the Chaos game, and I saw them lose every other time versus Valiants and Movistar Riders. They're still fighting outside of their own weight class, which is why this is impressive. But how consistently can they keep it up? Spirit have some really good entry frags when it comes to Young in particular. Spirit have a really good teammate placing in terms of trade fragging and the space given between players. So you're never just going to get these one-off pushes from the boys on Spirit. It tends to be like 3 or 4 at a time. And once they sprint into a bomb site, they won't really stop. You know, Spirit's a team that still has that classic CIS in them where they'll go for those 10 seconds left executions. But even if they're doing it at 30 seconds, they don't tend to fake. They're pretty linear, Tom, and I like that.
Yeah.
You know, straight to the point, straight to the bomb site, straight to the goddamn win.
Have you seen all the utility?
There's a lot of it.
This is mad. I don't think I've ever seen that many grenades. Or lack of Kevlar. I think that's the way I'll put it. 3 incendiaries, 2 smokes, 3 flashbangs, and an HE. No upgraded pistols. The only player that doesn't have the extra grenades is Chris, and that's because he has a kit. This is interesting. I like it. I like to see different things. We'll see whether or not it actually works or not. They will be able to slow down a lot of the pushes. And in terms of a retake, I think that's why they're all stacked on A. Because the man who's there does not have an incendiary, because the 3 incendiaries are going to be used as a retake. if things don't go well. Which, unless Skrunk is going to do something utterly incredible, they're probably not going to be going well. And you can see he's just going to fade out and pretty much wait for the retake.
I wonder, though. I wonder if Spirit go for an after plant that includes positions on site. Because if they fall back and primarily play banana, then I don't think this retake Molotov strat's going to work. But the frag grenade, sure. Hot damn. And right now, the T's haven't left the bomb site either. So these mollies are going to do a world of hurt. Unless Team Spirit pushes into construction right now.
Here come the Molotovs. Trade frag to start. Young left completely blind. They're all stuck in the church at the moment, but all the grenades have already been expended. It's just down to the battles. Coldy and Young both finding a killer piece, and they haven't cleared off the man from Banana either. Chris K will be able to find one, and there's Sotfik and Young to close things out. A nice idea and a decent attempt, but ultimately Spirit are just able to outgun them.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a turning point in that situation, and it comes from the CTs smoking off the back of the church door. What that did is it created a pocket behind the back of coffins where we had, what, 3 to maybe 4 Ts at one point? Yeah. And initially they die, but what we had as well is the CT walking through that own smoke of his and then losing his head from behind. He never saw the T because he walked in blind. If Expert had just waited off, say, another 3 seconds, then he has a chance at a gun duel instead of walking through smoke. Oh, God. What? And maybe he wouldn't have been on the receiving end of a killer headshot like that. The scout peek from Andy's denied. The pistol round post plant. I love the idea, but they kind of screwed themselves with their own utility because of the smoke.
I do have to say the grenade in the previous round thrown by Skrunk.
Oh yeah, on the bomb planter.
That was because that was a perfect lineup. Like he knew, yeah, he knew where that was going straight away. Like there was no doubt. And considering like that's the one thing I do like with the Esea stats is that the utility damage sort of hasn't updated properly, or it's done by halves. So we can see that in the last round alone, he did 98 utility damage. I mean, most of that was off his grenades. JDC is going to be able to take down one. Unfortunately, he was the lone defender of the A side. So I would kind of like to just see the CT side just hold on to their weapons. And it seems like they rotated preemptively, but now realize there's not much hope.
Nope, this one's done and dusted. So keep your single scout, hang on to your C. 3 AKs bought up from Spirit. If they had lost versus this force, God, would that have been costly. Not too much of a problem. Really does help, of course, that the scout that's currently in the hands of Chris K, originally, I believe that of Andy, was just popped on top mid. Peeked into Sotfik, or excuse me, Coldy. Lost his head for it. Speaking of which, sorry, buddy. Chris K nabs the noggin. Keeps us 3v3 as bomb goes off and Spirit take double digits. This is start of a good T side, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. Again, this is like arbitrary comparisons. Team Spirit sitting on overpass. Once they switch to T side, no matter how many rounds they have on CT, I always think to myself, like, okay, now this is when Spirit starts. Because it's SDY's entry with the teams behind him that is just what's so convincing with this roster. That's what I want to see more of. Get him up front. He's got a Mac 10 this round. But I think he's playing for apps.
Yeah, it seems to be maybe his position on this map. He has been around there on the CT half as well a fair bit, using the shotgun at times when needed. So clearly one of the spots he feels more comfortable and can be a powerful lurk position as well as a great way to entry into the site. But at the moment, you can just see the T's slowly probing out the map. Double nade. A little bit higher and Preet would have been dead, but still chipping away at his health down to 49. And this is one of those rounds where you do expect Spirit to just run over it. You would need a stack situation or some incredible pistol kills to turn the tide here, especially with the amount of AKs that are currently in. They're playing things relatively safe considering Expert are still just playing with what they had from the previous round.
There's your opening pick. Starting to sniff out the stack. SDY simultaneously pressuring the A site. He could clear the single pit pull. Should be a really good position for this bomb to now sprint in. And it's managed to get past Chris K, who was looking to through the middle peak, but his Deagle now challenging Pit. Smoke goes down, ensures this round. That, my friends, a 5v3. And we are in a mirrored image of the previous round. Tom, play it back.
Yeah, it's done.
Done again.
Maybe we'll get a single scout kill. Oh, no, it changed. That would have been the exact repeat. If Coldy had died, then we would have had a... Well, I think one more player had died on Team Spirit, but... Either way, this is a chance for them to really farm up some cash. The CT's not saving a lot, but extra Kevlar going into a round where you're buying with a lot of extra utility is never going to be a problem. And maybe an extra pistol for someone with an AWP would be nice. High disbalance. Probably not wanting to hunt with this AK.
Ooh.
They didn't get it, at least. I suppose that's the only positive from that situation, but you know they have pistols. I've never really understood like those sort of faces where you know they have nothing, so why risk when you have something?
Why use many words when few words do trick?
Yes. Duh.
Here comes Chopper Tom. Tries to get around that corner of Banana. Falls in. And Skrunk's now pinned in behind the half wall. Goes for the peek. Can't manage it. Sophic up close. AK headshot. This is going to put the B site in question. But Preet does have support from Chris K. At least he's not relying on that CT rotator to run over quickly. No. We're going to have the 4-man cohort of Team Spirit hitting this B site. They put down the smoke for CT cross. And this nullifies. He could push through. In fact, he's primed himself a Molotov, so this is meant to disrupt the execution and maybe open up Chris K's AUG for a couple.
Yeah, Chris K at the back of the site. Well placed, spots the heads, but actually doesn't get anything done. Needed a kill there, leaves it all onto Preet. Should be able to get one on the bomb, but it's just going to be traded out. It was a hero play that didn't really achieve anything. Smokes are going to fade for the T side, so they can't really afford to face too much into these angles anymore. In fact, the CT side making the decision that this round is no longer winnable. It's going to be a 12th on the board for the Ts.
Poor Expert at this point. They're just not playing for their rounds. I mean, this is going to be the third save at the end of it. And while saving is very important on Inferno, you need that utility. You want that op. You know, they've got to accept the reality that they're just letting Spirit rack up rounds, and they're just putting more pressure on themselves to win the gun rounds that come after this. It's hard to get back into that site. Still had a smoke and flash if they really wanted to try it. But Sophic rings the bell as Team Expert find themselves down by 5. Do they invest back in? Should, of course. Andy and JDC could be able to drop 2. You want to start chipping away at Spirit because they have been content in these last few rounds, constantly pushing CTs off of bomb sites quick, at times clearing out saves, managing their money well.
Yeah, I think this is where we need to see some better just like stopping power coming out, like challenging certain angles, because from the looks of it in the last round, like you remember the aggressive peak that came out Banana with the AWP, there was nothing to get him out at the end, and that's what you need. Get the opening pick, but when he was sectioned in, there wasn't really anything used to get him out of position, and then it just went to a ridiculous sort of hero play of let me try and no-scope someone from point-blank range. They run around a corner. Like, if that's what you're betting your round on, I'm not looking forward to what we're going to see. So they're not actually going to buy. I'm quite surprised by that. They do seem to be a team that really like having every piece of the puzzle. And actually, like we sort of spoke about it yesterday, how good their double AWP setup was. I wonder if this non-investment is due to needing a double AWP or really like wanting to have it in play, because if that's the case, especially on Inferno, I'm not a fan of it. Like on Train, I can understand because it is a map that really does benefit the AWP. Inferno, I don't think you need more than one.
wouldn't think so either, but I mean, if they're really adamant on including it in their setup, plus they want the grenades with it, you know, you don't want just some haphazard secondary op, but the full-fledged thing. And that's the only explanation I can get here, but it's a peek out from Andy, and it's well-timed. Disbalance was holding the angle, and Andy just wrecked. It's a headshot to boot. Now, they could get their paws on that second op. Tantalizing, I'm sure, but it's going to be contained by Team Spirit. Moving around the guns, though, this is making noise. I mean, this is 100% confirming presence. The gunshots will do the same thing. Flashbang goes high, and Preet dies, cleared from his boxes. 3 CTs set up towards the A side are now going to try to shuffle over Andy. He's gotten himself a second kill and further follow-up damage, but he's being pinched by the side of Church. Seems to be aware of it. Wow. Gets back into the cover, but can't re-peek in time. So the 3 CTs come retaking in from Banana, all of them off the same direction. Mac-10 picked up, but it's versus the op and double AK. Skrunk, he's able to get across, but he loses a player in the process. Now his flying Mac-10 will best one of the 2 oppers. It reveals the player behind New Box, and Chris Case pinched down for the count. SDY peaks in time, 13-7 Team Spirit.
And there was a few moments there where you really could see that round slipping away. Like the AWP just doing work from Andy, but also Preet on the boost. Just like 3 players run past. They don't check the angle properly, but he just can't connect any shots. So just a kill there could have been enough to really turn that round on his head. But unfortunately for them, it is going to be a 13th. But here it comes again. Double AWP setup. They really are reliant on this again. It's going to be the same peak, and a nade will stop Skrunk in his tracks. We'll just be forced to fall back, retreat, and take a new angle.
Top Banana Flash meant to push back any oppers so Coldy can go for a peek. Strunk's more patient, a little more relaxed. He had given up the initial angles, but all that really does is give away Banana control, which could be the place that Expert are content with. You were spot on with this double op setup, by the way, Tom. And the fact that they have full grenades and kits all around it. But Preet doesn't have armor, odd enough. Not even body armor, Tom.
Yeah, it's weird, especially out of all the players, to not have it. The guy who's got one of the rifles, it just seems weird, but I guess he's at the back of the site. I think if you're spotted around that area, you're kind of screwed anyway. And Young normally hits headshots either way. He is going to be sat back. Coldy looking to get that open. A nade goes down, does a lot of damage, and it is a headshot. He's wrecked no matter what. And Sophic gets a second. These B site entries have been phenomenal from Team Spirit. And again, are we going to have deja vu number, what? 3, 4? Just save your guns, run away. It's not going to work. Like, I agree with the saves, but a lot of the time, I think you just need to try and get some more buy rounds on the board. Like, it doesn't seem to work having a double AWP. It doesn't seem to work saving your money and getting all these grenades. So just give yourself more chances. Like, I think most teams in that previous position, like we both said it, like, oh yeah, they'll probably buy behind this. 1 player with 5k, 2 players able to drop. Like, it's common to see a purchase there. And I, at the same time, appreciate wanting to have everything in play, but at this point, you're too far down.
Yep, got to start making plays for rounds, and I think you got to start making more proactive plays on top of it. You know, 1 of 2 oppers. Like, you saved to get that secondary op in position. It was the entire purpose of giving away rounds, was to have a secondary op with utility, and you didn't even use that extra utility to get your secondary op a line of vision down Banana. Like, contrast this CT side to what we were getting from Team Spirit, where they were always fighting for Banana control. They were constantly getting behind half wall. They were pushing down to the logs with MP9s at times. And you can't even position an AWP player to try and give you that extra time for a rotate. I mean, the reason these 3 other CTs save is because they're not close enough to the bomb site to justify going for it. But the reason they're not over there is because you're not giving them information, Tom. Not giving them much at all. Team Spirit, well, they're giving it to them, that's for sure. But JDC bounces back. 4 kills! 4 kills off of Pit. Just lines them up down lane and completely shuts down the side of Balk as well. Damn, JDC. That's what you need. That's what you need. Some sort of individual play that puts Expert a cut above. But can he do it again? Because they have a very small margin of error.
I'm going to say he can't do it again, but not because he can't do it, but because they're going to go B.
Right, yeah, just fall back into the B execute. All right, screw JDC and his 4Ks.
Exactly.
Just don't go see him.
Yeah,
right.
It's like everything else has been successful other than pushing Balk, so just don't go Balk. Like it seems ridiculous, but at the same time, the banana control from this expert side has been fairly weak. Like, we haven't even seen the classic, like, set up the AWP and then stack A. Like, have the 4 players there.
Right.
It's basically just been, wow, that.
Self-flashing around a corner when Scrunk has a flashbang and is also on banana, I think is just, that's where, that's a mistake. You know, you're trying to play a one-man show so that your gun's not up. I kind of like it rubs me the wrong way, in the same fashion that when we had that last B execute where 2 players die in the back of sight and the other 3 CTs save, like those counter terrorists on site were throwing grenades when they very well knew these Ts were pushing through. You're hiding behind that little pillar on the back of B site and you've got a frag grenade in your hand. I'm sorry, but the reality is you're gonna die. Like, buddy, get your op up, get scoped in, hold some cover. You know, put yourself in a better position to maybe lock down a hold. But it's a similar situation this time. They've lost that banana present. They try to fight for it in the 5 versus 5, mind you. Give up some space to Team Spirit. They haven't pushed through apartments to justify stacking B. Andy has a feeling about it, but you can see him just so undecisive, jumping back and forth. But luckily the player boosted is going to be good for 1. It's JDC again, constantly in with these kills. Scrunk, he's managed one, and he's got cover in the back of the site, so these Ts are stranded.
Oh, even still, they managed to find openers back into the site, leaving it into this 2v2. They have to go for the bomb plant. Chopper needs some defending here. Is so focused in. This kill has to come in the last second, and it isn't going to happen. I wonder if it was actually after time. I think Young died just before the clock went out, but yeah, he was so focused on the other player that just was hoping that Chopper didn't get killed.
And a pause called off of it, Tom. Really let it sink it in.
Yeah, this is a tough situation for both teams, really, because Team Spirit's money is not ideal. Young could drop an AK over and they would still have a relatively good buy. On the other side of things, it's still whether or not they want to be going for the double AWP. Now, they're not, unless JDC is going to go glass cannon, and considering how good he's been with the rifle, that would infuriate me beyond belief. And it is just going to be down to the singular. Just some pistols as well. Team Spirit, plenty of rounds to play with. So don't really need to take any sort of risks. It's actually quite interesting, at least from my perspective, to see how Andy has been able to win nearly every AWP battle I've seen. Like, this round was not an AWP battle, but whenever he seems to face off against Side Disbalance, even if he has the angle, Andy has been winning.
That is fair. Which is why I thought the double op setup was really going to be a key piece for them. You know, we had seen it before. They clearly wanted to throw it into this one. Didn't work out too well, but check this out. We've got Chopper just sitting outside of apartment, waiting to hit up on Balk, and the CTs within the A site, they're starting to shuffle positions. They were both on site, now Chris and Pitt. JDC thinking about holding off Arch side, but he's floating between that and the bomb site itself.
And these are the sort of rounds that Spirit steal. Like, it's scary times. Young has a gun in hand as well. Looking like they're going to try and hold any rotations. It is the full rotate already coming in. They're expecting Andy to be here, and Young, he gets that kill as expected. And now they look to wrap around. Things become very difficult. Another one for Young, looking to close this all on his own. And it is just Preet remaining. I think they're going to have to go to the old faithful and just save the gun once again. But This is how good he is, right?
Yep.
I can call
Yep.
that before it happens.
That's why, again, you said it best yesterday. I really liked when you used this word, Tom. It stuck with me even till today. This is why SDY revolutionized team spirit. This is why the team is built around him now.
Yeah,
Man.
He is a pleasure to watch. Absolute pleasure.
Just cracked open this site. And the pit player too, you saw him so concerned with the lane run that he decides to peek out wide and try to challenge the players outside of Moto. And yeah, I don't think that was the call to make. Poor buddy just, you know, felt heated at the moment with that very real threat of team spirit. Like, it was so obvious they were getting closer and closer, and they had the smokes up to get in as close as possible before they made that final burst. And then when they made the burst, SDY kills everyone. Because that's what he does.
Yeah.
And that's what he's going to try to do to close this game. 6 map points and a forced buyout of Expert that includes a shotgun. Andy's Mag 7 hits the streets.
Cheaper now. It's more money for what it's worth, but definitely not the gun you want to have in the potential last round of the game. He is going to be in one of the most viable positions for it, but if Spirit have read the economy at all, they should know that this is possible. They've actually got 3 players within the apartments right now. Chopper will meet his doom. JDC's actually found another. Setup has worked wonderfully, and eye disbalance has been spotted. Zandy goes aggressive, wanting to try and take the fight. But now that they've seen 3 players up in the apartments, they're going to try and just put the pressure on to be. The rotation will take a while. Cody leading the charge with an AWP. He has no armor? What? I think that's a mistake. Maybe just forgetting that he needed to buy it. Everybody does that occasionally, but not normally when you're in map point, and the nade going to do so much damage. This round is just not going the way they wanted it, but Sophic will still manage to find one. Pre holding in the back lines. The T's left blind, and he'll find another. It's left all onto Sophic, and it will be another round on the board for Expert.
Yeah, slowly walking past Banana, getting closer to their objective in that bomb site, but also, without realizing, giving away the entirety of them for Expert to take. And Expert, I love that they didn't hesitate. Banana player was instantly behind that execution to just make sure he was there if things did go wrong. Team Spirit kind of corralled into their own deaths that round. But it is funny, right? When sometimes this like you said, it happens to everyone every once in a while. It's when you win a force buy round and you didn't have armor, and then you win it, and then you're back in the spawn the start of the next round, and you've got a gun, you've got a couple grenades, and you just think to yourself, like, excellent. Forgetting, of course, you know, your roots and the fact that Coldy didn't have armor. Imagine if that comes back to, like, bite him in a 1v1 clutch. Could have been way more embarrassing. Luckily, the whole team was embarrassed on the B hit. And so no stress, no sweat. Pause comes to a close with a full buy on each side. Expert still playing that single op setup. Skrunk's got an AUG on the ground. And so this is a pretty mirrored image between these two teams for what could be the last. 5 to go. And they try to go for the run boost with the op in mid. Doesn't work. Doesn't get himself thrown over. Narrowly dodges the counter opper. But there's a quick entry on the top of Banana and a good answer and a frag grenade. Excellent utility from Skrunk here to stave off what could have been an instant push. For all they know, there's 4 bodies on the other side, so they had to rotate Andy over.
Still the push continues. Sundai Young this time not going to be able to connect. There's a lot of damage to Skrunk, but it is enough to close him down. Sophic tempted to make the push in, but instead they're going to opt to fall back, regroup, and attempt to push on the other side potentially. Chopper's still there probing around the apartments, but isn't going to make any sort of move just yet. In fact, may just look to fall back into Banana and join up with the rest of the team. They know that one of the members is low, and Andy, although he's rotated in, could be smoked off almost straight away, and that would give them free roam into the site.
There's the double smoke in. Gonna keep my eyes on Andy. But right now it's Skrunk who's actually trying to hold this off first. Completely blinded by the smoke grenade and flash now. Very, very potential for Team Spirit to take him down first. Op shot careens past. Second one follows up. It's in fact Skrunk through the box to get. 4v2, Tom. Chopper's gonna go for the plant, dodging that first op shot. He's blinded on his egg. JDC with a flash assist, and it all comes down to disbalance.
And once again, it's Andy to put him down. It has been the case all the way through this game. They're starting to drag this back once again. Every game we see from Expert seems to come very close. The most dominant, still having them with double digits. The fact is, where all they need to do is steal away one round, the loss bonus will start to build up behind them, and they're continually getting bomb plants, which just makes damaging their economy so much harder. At least the buy for Expert can't really get much better. They've got all the AKs that they've retrieved from their opponents, and on the other side of things, it's just going to be some pistols, so still with a strong setup. Try and deny Spirit getting that victory and putting them even further down the board, because that's the thing for Spirit. This is a chance to like get towards playoffs. Like, they've played a lot more games than everybody else, so they're in a position where they kind of need to be getting the victories because they're around even. For Expert, as you mentioned earlier, playoffs is kind of out the window. Like, this is more survival. They're wanting to try and stay within the league, and I think they've played well enough that they deserve to. It's just not getting the victories. Good teamwork to at least hold off all of these pistols. The rotation has come back in, though. Freak needs to hold this down, and he will. Disbalance can't hit a shot, and it will be 15-12. He has actually had a very quiet game. Just look at everybody else in the server. 16 kills and up, and Disbalance with half that.
Taking a look right now, actually, at this Expert roster just to see where else they've been, and from what I can find, man, this is their first season of ESEA. So for you to jump into your first season of Mountain Dew League and still be taking very real amounts of rounds from a lot of the playoff contender teams, it's something to be worth being proud of, something to, of course, say motivate you in these few closing games of the season just to retain your position, get another season of MD. Mind you, I'm talking about this like they're not actually fighting right now for a win. Let's be very real. We've got 3 more rounds to force this into OT. It's a 5v5 execute, but they haven't checked the player on the graveyard stairs. JDC smokes himself off, pops up, takes down 2, almost getting the 3rd inside of the apartments, but now it's Disbalance and Chris K to play up close to one another, and more CTs trickle through. More CTs push past the smoke into the face of Sophic. They'll go. He's dropped another, but 2 HP's the difference. And Preet keeps his team going. 13 rounds for Expert. Whoa.
That was ridiculous. Like, to survive on just 2 HP, there was a very real chance there was a transition there to close the round and get that final kill, but not going to be the case. And once again, it just has to be the pistols for the T side. This time as well, they don't get the bomb plants, and money not really going to be there. And Andy, through the glass, with the help of a flash, will get the opener. But Chopper with the Deeg, very quick to trade one back.
Oh, Skrunk's caught one trying to slip past up. Chopper wanted to challenge that pit play, but nope, not gonna happen. Skrunk even burning, I just. This is a 30-round game no matter what, Tom.
Well, flash not quite gonna work out. Smoke will go down as they look to try and challenge versus the 2 players here, but a severe disadvantage for the T side. Although Sophic finds 1, a second for Cody as well. Somehow this comes back into a 2 versus 2. This is not the way that Expert want to throw this one away. Sophic retrieves an AK, and an AUG going to be shot over as well. Doesn't need to go off on the cross. Just going to be waiting very close. Avoids the nade. Peeks out as well. The flashbang from Sophic is perfect and leaves it into the 1 versus 1. Cody desperately low. Just needs to hit the bullet onto Andy, who is also low on HP, just hiding within the corner. Andy has to work it out, and he doesn't! It's going to end like that! Oh, that's going to be the most painful of losses. A 2 versus 4 with a P250 and a Deagle. is what wins Spirit the game. How do they do it?
Tom, how has that happened? I was ready for the 30. I'm ready for overtime. I'm ready for it all. And we get that 2 pistol plays to close it. I mean, Andy, you saw how meticulously he was clearing each and every angle throughout Banana. Checks the first corner, and he just, for whatever reason, at the last moment, doesn't take a shot into the depths of Banana. Like the one position that Buddy can be. And he lets it go past to give away the win, to add another heartbreaking defeat and another near upset added to Expert's record. But that's it. That's another loss. They're going to find themselves 1-8 in the season despite taking Team Spirit to the absolute edge.
Yeah, it's a painful one, but luckily for us, we get to just quickly move on as we're going to have ourselves another game coming up after a short break.
Yeah, XCOM and Havu, we'll see you guys there.